It's not a presentation. It was not meant as a presentation, it was meant as a roundtable. First of all, I was not prepared. Yesterday night, I'm clinically last-minute person, and I was panicking, and I was not prepared. And Andrea Duarte happened to walk into my office, and we started to chat. And I said, "Oh, Andrea, you're an immigrant student. Could you rescue me and join me for this panel for which I am not prepared?" And she gave me some very good ideas about immigrant students. So, Andrea, do you want to say a few words about you being an immigrant student?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. Being an immigrant student, it's not easy. And many times people think that it stops at the language barrier or the legal status, but there are way deeper underlying other issues there. And for me, the biggest one is, it's like you live in between two worlds. Many of the students that we have at QC that are immigrants have this issue where it's like your family has a certain expectation of you, your family has a certain opinion of what you should do because in the first generation case, they came to the country, they wanted to give you a better life, so they want you to go to college and have a good future. And then on the other side, they have all of this identity where they don't really belong to the country that they came from with their parents, but also, or the country that they left, but at the same time, they don't really belong here. So that's one of the things that I would say the faculty has the power to help them feel like they belong. And I just want to say at QC, they really do so.
So where did you come from?
So I come from Portugal originally, and I lived 12 years in London. I always wanted to come to the US, but I didn't have money coming out of high school, so I went to London to save money to come to New York. And of course that took life had its own plans, and it took a longer time. But when the pandemic hit, I decided that it was now or never, so I did it.
And now I'm curious, how or why did you land specifically in Queen's College?
So that was pure luck. I actually had been accepted to Hunter, LaGuardia, and Queen's College. And during the pandemic, Queen's College was the only one that didn't cancel the visas for international students. So I was supposed to be going to LaGuardia, but I ended up at Queen's College. By luck, you were the only ones that accepted me.
Thank you. That's a quick introduction, but to proceed to the topic. How I started to think about the topic, besides being an immigrant student myself many months ago, is I needed to prepare a presentation on Queen's College, a general presentation what Queen's College is about. And of course, my first slide was that we serve minority, underprivileged, marginalized, and immigrant students. And then I thought to myself, wait a moment, these are 4 different categories. In Queen's College, we tend to lump them together on that first slide, but each of these categories has unique needs, unique vulnerabilities that may hamper their college experience. So let's for a moment think just about immigrant students. And there are, of course, within immigrant students, 2 distinct categories. The first-generation immigrants, who, like Andrea, came here on their own for education. First-generation immigrant students who came with their parents as immigrants, and second-generation immigrants. And lots of our students, if they're not first-generation, they're second-generation. In the last couple of months, the situation of immigrant students became desperate. I think the last straw for me was when a couple of weeks ago, they started to cancel F1 visas. One of my friend's students got his F1 visa canceled based on speeding ticket. So you live in a country, this is a graduate student, and you got a speeding ticket, and 2 weeks later you just suddenly, your life is collapsing, right? And I know of this is not a student, but a postdoctoral fellow from Harvard that actually seeped into CNN, but I do have personal connection to this story, who is now sitting in Alabama, whose visa was canceled when the person was returning from vacation in France back to Harvard. So this brought our immigrant students into really, really desperate and insecure situation, and of course all the ICE raids and so on. But I want us to try at this moment to think back to the situation that is more similar to normality and think about immigrant students, I would say, other vulnerabilities and other issues. And I invite you for, let's do 8 minutes at your tables, and I suspect many of you don't know each other, so start by quickly introducing each other to each other, and then maybe each could name one thing that they feel is specific to immigrant students. What sets them aside from other vulnerable populations that we educate at Queen's College? And then I'll pass around microphone and hear out your ideas.